guys, Teacher Paul up here, and today we are reacting to a coffee request. This is from Juso, or Yuso maybe, who sent me this video, didn't say anything, just supported the channel, requested this video, which is from the channel called Jörg. And the title is, Where Did the Finno-Ugric People Come From? So let's check this out. Guys, join me live on Twitch. I'm live right now, and you guys can come join us and chat and hang out and, you know, teach me a few things live. Let's go.
If you've ever looked at a map of language families, you've probably noticed that almost the entirety of Europe speaks Indo-European. That is with the exception of Finland, Estonia and Hungary. Instead, they speak languages from the Finno-Ugric branch of the larger Uralic family, made up of around 30 different languages stretching all the way to North Asia. But who are these Finno-Ugric people and where did they come from? I am from one of these countries and even I was confused many years ago.
Estonia.
Back then there was no clear answer and various vague theories competed against each other. In the myths of various Finno-Ugric groups, their ancestry is often traced back to ancient rulers and warriors, like the Finnic Kaleva or Ostis and Oges of the Komis. Meanwhile, their mythical homeland is remembered as a warm mountainous land in the south or east, a stark difference from the forests and plains they now inhabit. Archaeology and genetics have come a long way in the last decade, however, and many things have finally gained light. It turns out the Finno-Ugric family is much younger than once thought, and those ancient legends that were not taken seriously before may not be far from truth.
This is a very well-made video, by
let's
the way,
go back in
guys.
time to 2000.
So if you want to go support the channel, the link is in the description as always. But I like this really nice explanation with, you know, the animation, drawings, pretty nice, pretty nice. And I like his accent, you know, I like his accent.
First, let's go back in time to 2500 BC, the Bronze Age. Indo-Europeans are expanding in all directions, but we find no trace of Finno-Ugrians in these lands yet. Going further east, we have to make a stop by the Altai Mountains. Here lies the eastern end of the Indo-European expansion, the Afanasyevo culture, the ancestors of Tokharians. They are the first pastoralists of East Asia, grazing sheep, cattle and horses. They are also familiar with bronze, using it for tools like knives and axes. 2200 BC.
By the way, I've seen people on YouTube carve, you know, spears, you know, using these tools to carve. It's such a beautiful, you know, craftsmanship. And you might have seen it on YouTube as well. Someone making a spear, you know, out of emerald. Is it emeralds? No, don't think it's an emerald, but it's a, I don't know. It's just making a cool spear. And they hit it and then they ship it. It's really nice.
And access. 2200 BC. Major climate change sweeps through Eurasia. In the steppe there is a period of drought. While the pastoralist Indo-Europeans are struggling to feed their herds, a new group of people arrives on the Altai from the east to make use of this opportunity.
From the east?
Where exactly did they come from and why is not yet known. What's important is these people speak Proto-Uralic. They are more primitive compared to the Indo-Europeans. They are hunters and fishers, wielding jade and flint instead of metal.
I like
this, however, gives them an advantage. They are not affected by the drought. As they settle down among their new neighbors, they adapt quickly, learning to herd animals, ride horses and use bronze, which they call waske. They take quite an interest in metallurgy, as here they come up with two revolutionary inventions in bronze making. See, previously the bronze used in the steppe was not actually bronze, but copper, hardened by changing the metal's arsenic level. But unlike the steppe, the Altai Mountains have tin, which these people used to make true high-grade bronze.
Nice.
The second invention is lost wax casting. In this process, a wax model is first carefully carved, after which a clay mold is built around it. The wax is then melted and the bronze poured in instead. After the bronze has cooled, the mold is removed, leaving the finished item.
Nice.
With this technique, the craftsman has a lot more control over the shape of the cast item, allowing for more details and less polishing. These inventions give birth to an ancient Eurasian bronze trade network referred to as the Seyma-Drubino phenomenon. For a while, scientists doubted its connection to the Finno-Ugric people, but recent genetic studies confirmed the old suspicions of many archaeologists. It was this culture that spread the Finno-Ugric languages and people across Europe and Asia. With this new technology, mass bronze production begins. But while things like tools and sculptures are also made, Finno-Ugrians are not content with being simple craftsmen. Instead, the main focus is put into weapons. Spears with these iconic hooks for pulling enemies off their horses, socketed axes with geometric ornaments, daggers with animal-shaped pommels. Finno-Ugrians were ready to begin their expansion. The strategy was simple: trade with those who have something to offer and conquer those who don't. In the east there were
That is such a Nordic thing to do. Vikings.
reach into China and Korea, being adopted by various cultures. Eventually they are used by the Kuifang, people of the Devil's Country, to raid the lands of the Shang dynasty. In the west, following the forest steppe line, Finno-Ugrians come across another Indo-European group, the Indo-Iranians. The drought has forced them to concentrate around rivers in the north and militarize in order to defend their lands, making them a formidable force. They ride horses and war chariots, they build large fortified cities, and they know basic agriculture. In the southern Urals they are represented by the Sintashta culture, a copper-producing military powerhouse. Finno-Ugrians build good relations with them, and there is active trade between the two cultures. From them, a decent portion of loanwords enter the Finno-Ugric languages. Agricultural and pastoral words such as porchas for pig, kechre for spinning wheel, and peime for milk. Across the Urals on the Volga and Kama rivers lie the Indo-Iranic Abashevo and Fatyanovo cultures. Unlike the Sintashta, these people don't have much to offer in terms of trade. A large-scale war breaks out between the Indo-Iranians and the Finno-Ugric newcomers. The end of the Abashevo culture is characterized by mass graves of people killed by arrows with flint heads, the same ones used by the Seyma-Drubino culture. By the end of the war, Finno-Ugrians come to rule the Volga and Kama rivers, killing or enslaving the previous Indo-European inhabitants. The self-name of the Indo-Iranians at this time is Aryas, Aryan. This word too is borrowed into Proto-Finno-Permic as Orja, meaning slave. We have to make a quick stop to talk about the nature of the Seyma-Drubino phenomenon. The reason it's often not considered a proper culture is because, for one, there are no ceramics associated with it, and for two, we haven't found any of their settlements. The findings are limited to grave sites and weaponry. The reason behind this is that the Finno-Ugrians driving this phenomenon were a small, nomadic group of warriors and merchants. As Finno-Ugrians settled in different regions, they married the local women and adopted their ceramics and ways of life. This is also why Finno-Ugrians have more white Indo-European ancestry the further west you go. Another reason why the phenomenon is hard to trace is because Finno-Ugrians cremated their dead, making archaeological and genetic research difficult. The tradition of cremation.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So this is an important part of history. Most of the things we know is, I'm talking about like back, like history is from fossils and, you know, just digging up stuff, if you may. And if they have the culture of cremating, that makes it much more difficult. Maybe not impossible, you know, but definitely much more difficult to gather data. So, moral of the story, don't burn your history, I guess.
The further west you go. Another reason why the phenomenon is hard to trace is because Finno-Ugrians cremated their dead, making archaeological and genetic research difficult. The tradition of cremation lasted a while too. Finns and Estonians started burying their dead only in the 12th century with the coming of Christianity. That's not to say that the dead were forgotten. Memorial altars were built into the ground, decorated with weapons, bone armor, jade discs, and other items. Their descendants would visit them regularly, honoring their ancestors by feasting and bringing offerings. This tradition too continued for a while. The Mari people to this day build altars for their ancient heroes where they conduct prayers and sacrificial feasts. Continuing where we left off, 1500 BC. The Seyma-Drubino era is coming to a close. While most Indo-Iranians have moved south to begin their conquest of Iran and India, some Iranic nomads have stayed in the northern steppe, mixing with Finno-Ugrians as well as Turkic people further east. The Karasuk culture descended from Seyma-Drubino is the result of such a mixture. They continue bronze production with Altai tin, trading it to China and the steppe. At this point, the Shang dynasty too has adopted Seyma-Drubino weapons, and with them tin, bronze, and lost wax casting, kickstarting the Chinese Bronze Age. Among the Karasuk are the ancestors
Yo, I didn't know there was so much connection. At the end of the day, we are just a mix of people, right? Like I'm from Brazil, but I'm European because, you know, history. We all mix. It's amazing. Even the English language is a mix of a lot of like Anglo-Saxon, Latin, It's just a mix of languages that we end up here. It's just really impressive how, sometimes like I like trying to understand how names are formed. Like for example, in Portuguese, Tiago, yeah, Old Norse too, exactly. Tiago is James. Like, how does it go from Tiago to James? And then there's the whole explanation there. So it's just very fascinating to see where the origin came from. And, you know, dude, like, I would never think that Finland is somehow connected like to China, as he's just mentioning now, like in terms of trade and like, dude, bronze traveled all the way to China and kickstarted, the weapons kickstarted the Bronze Age. Pretty awesome. Pretty cool. Really, really interesting.
Bronze Age. Among the Karasuk are the ancestors of Samoyedic people. Yes, those Samoyedic people. The first branch to split off from the Uralic family, at this time living in the Altai and Sayan mountains where some of their descendants would continue to live until modern times. Meanwhile in the west, Finno-Ugrians have split into Ugrians and Finno-Permians, carrying a variety of cultures descended from same Adurbino tradition. Ugrians inhabit the forest steppe east of the Urals. The Mainzi and Hanti people, as well as Hungarians, would later descend from them. West of the Urals, Finno-Permians mainly live around the Volga and Kama rivers. They are the ancestors of Finns, Estonians, Maris, Udmurts, and a multitude of other groups.
Dang.
Within a few centuries...
Wait, let's look at that chart. The Uralic then went split two ways, then split two ways again, and then two ways again. Dang, look at that. Actually, you guys, I don't know if you can see it as big, but look at that. It's amazing. And we have a lot of Sami people watching as well, which is pretty cool. Finland mentioned. Yeah.
Maris, Udmurts, and a multitude of other groups. Within a few centuries, those hunter-fishers from Northeast Asia have become the producers and sellers of some of the highest quality bronze items in the world, inhabiting a large stretch of land from the Altai Mountains to eastern Finland. Things have calmed down now after such a hectic era, and Finno-Ugrians have adapted to life in their new homeland, learning agriculture and slowly transitioning towards a sedentary lifestyle. Hunting and pastoralism remain as the primary ways of subsistence, however. This is also why Finno-Ugrians have concentrated around the border between forest and steppe. Relations with their new Indo-European neighbors are still tense, and raids and wars continue. Neither side manages to gain an advantage, and the two groups remain at a deadlock for centuries. You might have also noticed that the Carpathian Basin and the Baltic are still inhabited by Indo-Europeans. That all changes when a new, different metal makes its way to the hands of Finno-Ugrians, bringing winds of change once again. Join me next time as we enter the Iron Age and follow the Finno-Ugric people as they begin their second great expansion and start forming into the nations we know today.
That is such a nice...
Thank you for watching and see you soon.
How do you call this instrument in Finnish? The mouth harp, the jaw harp. You said it's called munharp, right? Munharpa in Norway. Guys, we have a lot of Nordic viewers here live on Twitch, so come join us live. And this is such a great video. Thank you, Jusso, for requesting this and teaching us some of the Finno-Ugric people. And if you are part of this group, let me know in the comments as well, which is pretty cool. And we have Finland watching as well. Shout out to Shaky. And I was laughing at the chat because Shaky was like, oh, Finland is mentioned. Well, yeah, it's a video about Finland, so wild stuff, wild stuff. But it's a great educational video, and we're trying to do more educational videos here on the channel as well, so we can learn. And you know, I can like add more videos also, and like educational videos, but the idea is that we have to learn with it, right? So I know that some people might think, oh no, he's gonna teach us. No, not really. You guys are showing me stuff from your culture and teaching me about your culture. So I hope nobody got misled by the name Teacher Paul. I'm not actually teaching. I'm actually learning with you guys. So yeah, bear that in mind when you watch the educational reactions that we watch. It's more for us to learn about each other, because here on the channel we have people from all over the world. So we hang out, we learn about each other. So thank you so much, Yuso, for this video. Thank you for the support also. If you want to request a video just like Yuso did, go over to Buy Me a Coffee. You can request on Twitch as well using your channel points. Click over here or click over here to see my educational playlist, and I'll see you soon. Take care for now, guys. Bye-bye.